Welcome back to Club News. This year's Special Olympics Asia Pacific Games will bring together 32 nations from across the Asia Pacific region, include up to 2,500 athletes and carers, 6,000 officials and supporters and 200,000 spectators. Here to discuss the event and what the club industry is doing to help it be a success is the Managing Director of Future Sport and Entertainment, Chris Heverin. Welcome, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
So tell us about the Special Olympics. Who takes part and how did it come about?
Well, the Special Olympics movement commenced in America in the 1960s, and it was through the famous Kennedy family, and John F. Kennedy's sister, Eunice Shriver Kennedy, was the founder. It's now across 170 nations around the world, and the Special Olympics movement is for people with an intellectual disability. So we have the able-bodied Olympics, which was on last year in London. We have the Paralympics, which is normally for people with a physical disability, and the Special Olympics is for people with an intellectual disability.
An impressive pedigree there, starting with the Kennedys. So what's the philosophy around the Games?
Well, the philosophy is about integrating people with an intellectual disability into society through sport. And so the Special Olympics movement encourages people to play sport on a weekly basis, and then then they can excel and work their way up to major events like national games, and then international events such as the Asia Pacific Games, and then ultimately the World Games, which is a goal for a lot of the athletes as well.
So is it a competitive or more participation based?
Look, it's a bit of both. It's Special Olympics is about competing at your level, at your standard. So it's about mass participation, but it's also about people reaching standards and setting themselves goals. So they do have to qualify to reach this level, to represent Australia or represent China or India. You do qualify, and you need to be able to perform at a certain level. But it is a participation-based program. It's a bit different to the normal Olympics. We have a program called divisioning, and in divisioning it means that everybody competes at their own level, and then they participate for a medal at that level, which is a fantastic opportunity for them all to go home with something and to achieve great performance.
Exactly. So what sports are involved? What can people compete in?
Well, there are 9 sports, and the sports are bocce, badminton, table tennis, 10-pin bowling, football, basketball, cricket, and what have I missed? Athletics and swimming. I think that was 9.
Seems right.
Yeah, I got to rattle them off the top of the head, but yeah, pretty close to 9. I think. Yeah, it's 9 sports.
So this is the first time that there's been an Asia Pacific Games, isn't it?
That's right.
Why hold an Asia Pacific Games event?
Well, the Games are, if you look at the model of the World Games being similar to Olympic Games, there are regional games held around the world. So there's a European Games held every 4 years. There's a North American Games every 4 years, and so the opportunity is the Asia Pacific region is a massive growing area, and so the movement were very keen to expand their reach and profile in this part of the world. And we actually, Australia actually had to go through a bid process, and we bid against 3 other nations, and so New South Wales actually won the bid, and then working with the New South Wales government, who have been an amazing partner, we identified Newcastle and the Hunter as the host region.
So why the Newcastle Hunter region? I mean, what's the impact for that region in terms of the size and significance of this event?
Well, we did look at a whole range of regions around New South Wales, and Newcastle and the Hunter have fantastic sporting facilities, but they also have amazing accommodation. We need to house 2,500 athletes, about 6,000 international visitors, 5,000 volunteers. I know we'll talk about the volunteers a bit later, but we've got to be able to house a lot of people and put them up. And so what we're doing is we've created 8 villages around the Hunter Valley, from Port Stephens around to Lake Macquarie, and that's where the athletes are going to stay. And these amazing resorts and villages, and the Hunter services it all. It's a brilliant region.
I'm sure our clubs in the Hunter will be very glad to hear that. Yeah. So what are the opportunities, coming I guess to volunteers, what are the opportunities for people in the community, both the Hunter Newcastle region and people from further afield in New South Wales? What opportunities are there for them to be involved in the Games?
Yeah, well, the Games is a free event. except for one event. That's the opening ceremony. So, so basically, people can be involved as volunteers. There's a big fundraising program that's being driven through the volunteer program. In terms of volunteering at the games, people are able to work in areas they have interest. They might be a sports person, a transport person. They might like catering. They might be in hospitality. They can sign up and work in any area that they've got expertise in. And we've just hit the 1,000 mark this week, which we're very happy about. And we've got people from all walks of life. We've got medical practitioners, we've got accountants, we've got anybody can get involved in the games, and there's a job for everybody.
Everyone's welcome.
Absolutely.
Now, you mentioned the opening ceremony there is the only ticketed event of the games. It's clearly going to be a big event in and of itself. What can you tell us about, I know you can't tell us absolutely everything, but as much as you can tell us about what people can expect to see. Why should people come along?
Well, like any opening ceremony, the creative director keeps his creativity very close to his chest, and that's John.
Creative types are like
that.
Oh
yeah, that's John Foreman, and John Foreman we think is one of the best creative people in the world. A great Australian person and a former Newcastle resident. Grew up in Newcastle, so John is working really hard on that creative. But we have been able to announce that some amazing performers. We've got the likes of Darren Percival, Marina Pryor, Anthony Kalia, Sylvie Palladino, who people would know from Carols by Candlelight, Doug Parkinson. The McClymots are going to give us an amazing country feel. And as well as that, we've got 3,000 Special Olympic dancers and performers. We're engaging with all of the dance trips across the Hunter and Sydney and northern New South Wales to come and get involved. So there'll be about 3,000 dancers and performers involved. It's going to be an amazing show. And 30,000 people, 1st of December at Hunter Stadium. Well, we want to fill that stadium. So we're calling on all the businesses to get involved from a corporate perspective. We're talking, it's a family event. The ticket prices are amazingly cheap, amazingly cheap. I'll reinforce that. And it's, you know, our goal is to fill that stadium. So we're calling on everybody to come along, and it's going to be an amazing event.
Now it isn't just sport and the fantastic opening ceremony. There's also a health program and getting participants to experience things that they might not have before. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Sure. Interestingly, working with people with intellectual disability, particularly in the countries in Asia where money's not readily available and health resources are not great, there is an amazing program called the Healthy Athlete Program. So every athlete that comes through, that's over 2,000 athletes, are going to be assessed across 5 areas of health. And then they'll be provided with prescriptions, and they'll be looked at its eyes, ears, teeth, podiatry, and also general health. And so the people that run that program for the games are all volunteers. Mm-hmm. They come from all over Australia and also internationally, and medical practitioners who will come in and actually assess the athletes and help them to have a better life. The other program that we're very excited about is the Australian Surf Experience. We're going to take 2,500 athletes and carers to 14 surf clubs across the Hunter, Newcastle and the Hunter, and they're going to have a surf experience. We're going to go take them onto the beach. We're out on the rubber duckies. They're going to be taught how to surf, and the 14 clubs are all going to put on an Aussie barbecue for all of the athletes and carers, which we think that's going to be a spectacular night. It'll be a fantastic time for them all.
Excellent. And so if people want to get involved in the event as volunteers, what should they do?
Well, as a volunteer, it's go to our website. The website will drive it all. It's very easy to register. You get an email back immediately. Within 5 days, our volunteer team will come back to you and allocate you an area to work in. As far as Clubs New South Wales, as our partner, the 140 clubs across Newcastle and the Hunter are all involved. We are working very, very closely with them to get club members, to get club workers, everybody to participate in the program. Once you sign up, which is very easy, we then ask you to get involved in supporting the fundraising initiatives, to then do the training, and then during the games be involved in an area that you want to work in. And we have any skills, any area, you can do that.
Well, looking forward to it. Sounds like it's going to be a fantastic event.
It is an amazing event. It's the biggest event in regional Australia this year, and we're very excited. But there's a lot of work to do. But at the same time, the support we've had from people like Clubs New South Wales is really appreciated, and we're calling on everybody in the clubs to get involved and really make this an amazing experience and something that they really a party to change, which is what we're trying to do.
Well, thanks for joining us today, Chris.
My pleasure. Thank you very much for having us, and we appreciate your support.
No problems. I'll be back with more Club News after the break.
She was looking kind of dumb with her finger and her thumb in the shape of an L on her forehead. Well, the years start coming and they